class we're going to go over meditation reading. We'll do a good one today. This book that I read is called Life is a Soap Bubble. 100 ways to look at life. Basically it's 1 to 100. And it's really short, to the point, which I like. So we're just going to go around, ask what your favorite number is, and we'll read that one. What's your favorite number?
76.
So read number 76, and if anybody have any reflection, you share it with me. Find a single ray of truth, and that ray will radically transform you. Those who can even have a glimpse of it will inevitably experience a great revolution. Gustav Meyrink wrote in a memoir that a Chinese friend once sent him a very beautiful and artistic casket as a present. Along with this gift, the friend sent a note insisting that the casket be placed only on the east or west side inside the house, because its full beauty could be seen only when it is faced east. Paying due respect to the wishes of his friend, Meyrink arranged for the casket to be put facing the right direction. But then he found that it did not match the other things in the room. Everything in the room seemed out of place, so he had to rearrange everything else. The table that the casket was placed on had to be moved to fit with everything else. The whole room had to be completely rearranged, and as time went by, the whole house had to be renovated to harmonize with that room. Not only that, changes also had to be made in the garden outside the house. This incident is very meaningful. The same thing happens in life. A single experience of truth or beauty or goodness transforms everything in life. You have to transform yourself because of it. Someone who can make even a tiny part of his life peaceful and beautiful will soon experience his whole life becoming totally different. His higher parts start transforming the lower. The higher transforms the lower. And remember, a single drop of truth is more powerful than a whole ocean of lies. Any reflection?
To conform with, just for lack of a better word, the harmony of everything else. If it's music playing out of tune, you can hear that. So we need to learn to feel it in the atmosphere around it. Things are harmonious and things are not.
Anybody else have anything to say about this one? 76?
I think the thing that was interesting for me is that the guy changed the whole room when it would have been easier to change the casket. And I think that is what happens a lot of times. People will see something and realize it's not fitting, but they'll try to change the thing that's the easiest instead of changing the whole room. They'd be like, well, why don't we just change this casket? That's one thing, it'll be done in a minute. And then they don't really realize that things are still out of place. And then you have to really take the time to change the whole room.
I think about it in terms of my, like even as I kind of go through this journey of life and transform and try to grow and elevate, what's around me also changes and transforms. The people, the places that I frequent, it just kind of comes with, for me at least, it kind of comes with transformations. If I'm suddenly trying to elevate my game and the individuals that I was with before are trying to, or aren't elevating their game or even bringing me down somehow. think it's just kind of a natural, at least it has been for me. There are people that are not in my life that used to be in my life for very specific reasons, because I'm a different individual and they can't, whatever reason, seeing me I don't know, maybe it brings something within themselves that they can't come to decide or something. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what I'm trying to say. I just know that as I transform and as my life transforms, what's around me also kind of naturally transforms. To match. Kind of like the room. Suddenly, okay, well the casket looks this way, now this doesn't go, this has to go this way, and that way. So it's like in harmony, some kind of harmony there, I think.
Because when you think about the work that I do, sometimes people come in here and they're like really out of it, like living a very unhealthy lifestyle. And then they come to me to seek for some change. And usually it might start off with the fitness where they're like out of shape, and then they come in to get in shape. They might start training like 3 times a week. And then that becomes like the spark to transform the rest of their lives. Like they'll come 3 times a week, and then eventually they'll be like, well, you know, maybe I should start eating healthier because that's kind of contradicting what I'm trying to do with my body, exercise. So then they start eating healthier, making smarter decisions. Maybe they'll stop smoking, maybe they'll stop drinking. And I've seen it a lot too, you know. I've kind of influenced people to start riding their bikes more. They don't drive as much. And they, you know, instead of like going to the bar with their friends, they might just stay in and read a book. I mean, like one little change could just change everything about your life. I noticed that. I also notice when you find a partner, it's kind of similar too. Like you could be living single for quite a while. You find somebody, you fall in love with somebody, and they love you, and there's a strong connection that could just transform everything. You know, now you might not want to work as much anymore, and the home might not be as important, the car might not be as important, and you just, you know, you care less about the things that don't really matter when you have love. But when you don't have love, then you put your energies into things that don't matter, usually. So, I noticed that too. But that's what I have to say about that one. What's your favorite number? Dallas?
3.
Number 3. Truth is one, but the doors to find it can be many. And if you become attached to the door itself, you will stop at the door. Then the door of truth will never open for you. Truth is everywhere. Everything that is truth. It has infinite forms. It is just like beauty. Beauty manifests itself in many forms, but that does not mean that beauty itself is many different things. What glows in the stars at night, and what gives off fragrance in the flowers, and what shows in the eyes as love, are they different from each other? The forms may be different, but the very same essence is present in them all. But he who gets stuck at the form never comes to know the soul, and he who stops at the beautiful is never able to experience beauty itself. Likewise, those who get stuck with words will remain without the truth. Those who know this transform obstacles on the path into stepping stones. And for those who do not know this, even stepping stones will become obstacles. Reflection.
I've been doing some studying lately that doesn't always make sense. So maybe just appreciate the little drops that you do get, the little truths that are beautiful, and you don't have to worry about bigger than the stuff that will come maybe.
Anybody else?
It kind of gets me to think about, today I'm going to have a Thanksgiving dinner with one of my dog walking clients. Her husband has to work on Thanksgiving, so they're not going to be able to have it then. And they're really into Christianity, and they talk about it a lot, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, that's your thing or whatever. And they told me when they invited me over, they were inviting their pastor and some people from Bible study and all this stuff, and I'm like the only person who's not Christian. And I often wonder if, because I never really say anything about it, I'm just like, okay, whatever, if they feel like they want to bring me into that. I know a lot of people who are really into religion that want other people to be part of their religion. And so I kind of feel like a lot of the things that they say to me, I'm at the door, you know? I'm just like, okay, I mean, there's definitely things that they're saying that are true. But a lot of times I feel like I'm stuck at the door because I want to be like, I'm not part of your religion. It has things to say, it has very valuable things to learn, but I'm not part of your religion. So I kind of feel like sometimes I'm stuck at that door where I'm like, this is a really beautiful door, but I know that that's not going to work for me. Like I said, it has a lot of valuable components, but kind of already been there, done that, and it doesn't really work for me. But I don't want to be like blocking myself from any of the good things that are in that religion or that they have to say.
This quote just reminds me of, I don't know if you guys seen the Bruce Lee movie, but I think he got it from Zen too, where he's in the movie The Enter the Dragon, and there's this little student that he's teaching, and then he's like pointing at the moon, and then the student's like focusing on him, looking at him, and he hits him in the head. He's like, no, don't look at me, look at the moon. He's just basically saying like, don't focus on the finger, otherwise you miss all heavenly glory. That's what he said. So the finger is like pointing, that's like a Jesus, that's like a Buddha, that's like a Osho. It's like they're just pointing. If you're focused on them and not that, then that's like the door, like you're stuck there. Like you're just trying to mimic Jesus or Buddha, you're just trying to be exactly like them, but that's not the truth. The truth is out there, and they're just trying to point you to get your focus away from them to focus on the truth. And then you basically become another pointer yourself. Like Buddha's pointing, Jesus is pointing, Osho's pointing, and then you're standing right next to him pointing as well. And then everybody's like focused on all the pointers, and then you're just trying to get them to look at everything, you know. So I can see exactly what you're talking about in the same way. Like there's people that have organized religions, and there's a lot of benefit to it because organization of people and groups is like it can uplift people. And that's why people go to church, they get to see all these people, they have fun, they have dinners and celebrations and everything. And there's positives to the groups, and that's why people join these groups, because they want to be a part of something. And but there's also negatives as well. But the individual seeker of truth is, you have to be stronger, you have to, it takes more courage to kind of seek the truth within yourself, opposed to just like join a religion and just be like, okay, what are all the rules? Okay, let me follow all those rules, and that's the truth. Okay, that's the truth. It doesn't work like that. And you're always gonna find like limitations, and you're always gonna find the problems with that, because you can't just put truth set in stone. And that's the problem. You set all these different groups, then they start opposing each other. They start conflicting with each other, and that's what creates a lot of war. And that's another problem, when you join a group. So, but as an individual, you could see like the truth within everything. And that's why he said, there are many doors to find truth. Truth is one, but the doors to find it can be many. That's what he said. So, it's like, that's what Osho did. He would talk about Jesus, talk about Buddha, talk about Muhammad, like he'd talk about all these different religions, and he'll see the underlying theme in all of them and see the truth in all of them, and he just presents it all. And then when you read his work, you can see like everything from different religions and how it's all like pointing towards the same thing. It's just different people pointing towards it. So, but yeah. Anybody else have anything but say number 3?
I have comment about what you were saying about being stuck at that door because of religion, I guess. Being someone that doesn't follow any particular religion, but associate with people that are associated with different religions, Islam or Christianity or Buddhism, and having that feeling of you know, are they trying to recruit me into their space somehow?
Yeah.
And I think what's allowed me to not really be affected by that thought that I have in my head, first of all, it's kind of witnessing, you know, like the meditation, witnessing that thought that somehow I'm wondering that they're trying to recruit me or do something to me. But also tonight, for me, it was not taking it personal because there would be this whole narrative going on in my head that, you know, they're trying to, first of all, I'm making a big thing in my head that they're trying to recruit me in the first place.
Yeah.
And I don't know that. I just what's going on in my head. And then secondly, that in that thought that they're trying to recruit me, somehow they're saying that what I'm doing is not good enough, that therefore they should. So I got this whole narrative running, and it becomes a personal thing. So at least for me, with that kind of dynamic, I've eliminated taking it personal. That and realizing that's just all in my head. You know, I can just be present with them, and be in my truth, and they are trying to recruit me. You know, fine. I mean, that's not an issue for me. If that's what they want to do. But I've been down that road big time that you're speaking to.
Yeah.
And that's helped me anyway.
I think the other thing that I'm thinking about is like, are other people making creating that same narrative when I'm talking about meditation? You know, because I'll just be like, oh, this is really great or whatever. And I never tell people like, oh, you know, you should do this or it's going to help you or you're going to find the way or whatever. But it's kind of like me saying, oh, I love this fish and this is the best tasting fish. You know, I'm just talking about something that I like. And I have to sort of remember that. Like, this is something that they're really into and they really like.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I get stuck on it more, especially with Christianity, is because evangelical Christians, that is part of the religion, is to proselytize and bring other people into it. So you never know, like, are they just talking about this because it's the best fish they ever had, or are they just talking about this because they're like, no, really, if you don't eat this fish, you're in big trouble.
Can I piggyback on this? Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. There are social penalties in America, probably in all the West, because it is mostly Christian. And I follow several different other philosophies and explore, and it confuses people. And it doesn't matter to me. I'm just, it's whatever it is that I have a passion or a curiosity about. But as far as proselytizing goes, yes, that is part of their thing. But people only do to you what you let them do to you.
Yeah, and
So
I think that's where I'm still so fresh in meditation that I don't feel like strong enough to be like.
It's a mostly Christian world in Western America, so it's a little bit you become an outlaw, sort of. Yeah, that's okay. You can be a solid rebel.
Yes, I think of being a cartoonist and often dealing with political issues. That's the one that's scariest to religion that's going on in our country right now. It's politics. Where people get together on some issue that really doesn't matter a whole lot and make a big deal of it. And then things that are important fall to the wayside. I think about what the Christian ethic is, but at the same time, when you bring a the subject of immigrants, there's a whole different other vibe going on. It's like you're supposed to love your brother and give a hand and all that, but then when it comes to that issue, it's like a complete disconnect.
I feel you. Yeah, as a Native American, well, at least a quarter, this whole Thanksgiving thing is kind of funny to me. But, you know, I imagine they're genuine, and
Yeah.
they believe what, and there are good, I know many good Christians.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, like, these people are always, they've always been cool to me or whatever, and if that's a big part of your life, I totally
It
expect
helps
you
you,
to,
yes.
yeah, to talk
Absolutely.
about it.
If it works for you, great. If it makes you better, you know, a better person, more decent, if it works, great.
So yeah, I just gotta be like, this isn't about me.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
I just see a lot of parallels with, I mean, I think if the religion really affected somebody's life in a positive way and they transformed and they just want to share that beauty, comes from the heart, that's almost kind of what I feel, the same thing that I've experienced with, you know, learning about Eastern philosophy and meditation. It's like I have this desire to share it. It's not a bad thing, but at the same time, when you're trying to force something, no matter what it is, you're trying to force something onto someone that's not ready for it, then it can be perceived as a bad thing. So, I think in the East, it's not so, well, it shouldn't be. The opposite way of the way some of the Christians might do it is they start going out there recruiting people, but the opposite way is just kind of, you don't recruit anybody, you're just being yourself, expressing yourself, and then people naturally are gravitated towards that, and they just want to find out more about your life. And then when they find out more about your life, then they'll find out that a big part of your life is meditation, and then they just want to learn about it. And then you just answer the questions that they might have, opposed to being like, you know, oh, you need to do this, otherwise you're going to hell or something like that. It's not like that. It's just more like, you know, you found your path, you're heading on your path, and then it just so happens that some people around you, they just notice certain things about you that they're drawn to, and they just want to find out more about that, and then you just share that. That's the way that I do it. That's the way that I think that most of the Eastern way is more. It's not so like in your face.
It's subtle. It's very
Yes,
subtle.
it's more subtle.
You know, and I'm studying that as, sorry, studying that as well, so, you know, if I post something on social media where I speak, which I try not to do it very much, because it's almost like them doing the same thing, you know, share and say amen, or you're going to hell, whatever. But, you know, just very subtle, just put something out there that's a nice general thought, you know, and some of my really conservative Christian friends, you know, will like that, you know, it's not pushy, it's not saying, some of them think that their way is the only way, and that's great, if it works for them.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And then it's also interesting because it's just the way that you market things and advertise certain things. Like, I was talking to one of my fitness clients, and he's like, oh, you know, you gotta come up with some ideas of how to like promote your business. And he's like, how about, you know, I put a newsletter and I put out like a free lesson. He's like, no, people, when they think things free, they think there's something wrong, there's something going on. He's like, just charge them a little bit, like half of what you normally charge. Like, I would do that. But it's like, that's kind of what I think about too, is like, sometimes it's like with religion, they'll be like, oh, you know, it's like when they're trying so hard to get you in, you just feel like, there's just something, like, why are you trying so hard? Like, is there a catch to this? You know? But if somebody doesn't try so hard, he's like, if you want to learn about it, oh well, that's on you. Then it's kind of like, now they got to actually seek for it. And then basically the things that are valuable usually are not like just given to you. Like, you have to really seek for it. And I think the real spiritual, like the deep teachings, is not out there all over the media. Like, it's definitely not in Hollywood. It's not on the radio. Most of your friends, they don't know about it.
Yeah.
is like hidden in the dark corner in the library where there's like thousands of books and there's a few books where that's like the gem. That's kind of how I feel with Osho is not like all out there. Like it's just, you really have to kind of like almost like fall on it by accident. Like that's how I feel like the real teachings are. It's like not so out there, like it's more hidden, you know. Because once it gets all out there and everybody's doing it, because the masses are not like, because they're like sheep, they just follow, they're not like really think for themselves, then there's automatically something wrong. Because if everybody's doing it, then clearly that's not the way. Because the majority is always not going to be going towards the proper way. It's not that easy. It's almost like expecting the majority to be like Olympic athletes. That's not going to happen. The majority will always be unfit. And then there'll be a small segment that's Olympic like athleticism. And that Olympic athleticism is something that doesn't come easy. So no matter what, like the majority, if everybody's into it, there's something faulty there that I see. And with the spiritual teachings, it's the same way. So like the most popular religions in the world, to me, it's more like designed to control people, to just have like masses of people just like do certain things, and then people, they kind of take the teachings the wrong way, and there's going to be people that just start destroying and corrupting the teachings to make everybody look bad. Like what's going on politically right now, what's going on with the Islam thing, these people that are doing all this crazy stuff is really making it, everybody that practices the religion look bad, but it's not supposed to be like that. But that's the problem with groups. It's like if you join a group of like 1,000 Christians, there could be one Christian that does something just horrible, and it makes all Christians look bad. And then now you chose to put that label on yourself, and now you fall into that. You know, just like there's this Duggar family thing, you know, where there's like this big family, and then one of the guys did like, you know, he started to like, what do you call it? Molest his sister and everything.
His church protected him?
Yeah, molested his sister and everything, and then it destroyed the whole Duggar family reputation. They took him off of the TLC and everything, and everybody's looking at them, criticizing them and laughing at them, and the whole family, they're looking at that way. Not just the person that did it, but the whole family. So that's the problem. That's considered a small-knit family too, and they're like really hardcore about that Christian stuff, you know. And then maybe they had like 20 people in the family, all called the Duggar family. One person messed it up for all 20. But that's what's going on with the whole religion thing. Like, you could claim yourself, oh, I'm Buddhist, but then one Buddhist could mess it up for like everybody. Oh, all Buddhists are like that. And then you just label yourself as a Buddhist, and then now you fall into it. And that's why I don't like labeling myself with anything. Like, I like Buddhist teachings, I like Osho's teachings, I like Lao Tzu's teachings. There's something that I might get from Jesus, Muhammad, Malcolm X, you know, Martin Luther King Jr., Tupac, Bruce Lee. I see like truth in so many different things, but I'm not going to label myself as anything. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Taoist, or I'm a Christian, or I'm a, you know, Muslim. I'm not going to say none of that. I'm just going to be like, look, I appreciate truth, I seek for truth, and I want to live the truth. But I don't want to confine myself to any group. But that's how I am, you know.
Can you go back to what you said about darkness and darkness? Like there's power or something. It reminds me of something. Like this endless well of like darkness. That's where you like discover the things. Something I was studying.
Well, I remember when I first started doing this, you had mentioned seeing lights, colors when you meditate, and at first I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And because I see blackness, I see nothing. And then the more I started doing it, it would be a little pinprick, and then it's swirling, and then it's green, and it's purple. So I think it's, for me, when you're confronted with darkness, that's not something you should just be like, oh, you know, this is a horrible thing.
Yeah, you can
you know?
learn.
Yeah, and out of it, if you really are aware and you really concentrate on it, the light will come. So you know, for me, that's why, like, you know, now it takes me a little bit longer. I'm still not totally free of it to be like, yeah, whatever. Because at first I'm just like, that makes no sense to me, just seeing colors out of nowhere. And then, but then as I did it, there they were, you know, so.
But just quickly, what you said, darkness of darkness, to me is just kind of like balancing out the teachings. That we lived here in the West, we've been born here, raised here. We know all about the West. But we know the importance of money. We know the importance of having things. We know the importance of certain things. That's just natural. They're teaching you the importance of like working hard and the American dream. But then there's a whole other side, which is darkness that they might label it, that we're not familiar with, and that's like the Eastern teachings. So we're here in the West, then there's the Eastern teachings. There's a lot of truth to that, and if you don't know that, then you're missing on the whole other half. So learning about darkness is like learning about the East, and once you learn about the East, you don't get stuck there and stay there. You learn it, and then you come to the balance, to the center. So there's the West and then the East. You're stuck here, you don't know anything about that. Learn from there, bring it towards the center, because there's truth in both. Okay, so you're learning about meditation now. That's part of the Eastern ways that's hidden from the West. So that's balancing you out, because you already know the West, which is don't meditate. Just work hard, compete, make money, and cutthroat. Okay? The East is like the opposite of that. Just relax, enjoy life. You don't know when you're going to die. Just enjoy your life. Don't compete. Relax, be humble. That's the East. The West is the opposite. Learn about the East. Appreciate the East. Appreciate the West. Find the center. Okay? The center is the truth. Alright? You can't get stuck in the East and you can't get stuck in the West. You need to learn both. So, all the teachings on the East, from Tao Te Ching to Osho to Buddha, is trying to help you get that balance by sharing with you something that you are not familiar with. Okay? And that's all it is. It's not telling you, learn this, convert to this, and be this. Meditate all day, don't do anything else, just meditate. No, it's not telling you that. Okay? Some people misunderstand the teachings. And then you got some of these monks where they just stick to the East and that's it. That's not the way. You got to find that balance. The balance is not easy because you integrate both teachings together to combine to the center. That's a very hard thing to do. That's like the balancing this. You step on it. It's a lot harder to balance into this than it is just to step on the floor. Okay? The balance is the hard part, but that's the thing that's the real truth. But they can't really promote that to the people because most people will not be able to balance. They're going to choose sides. So then they're like, you either choose this side or that side. There's no in between. That's what they always say. But the real seeker will not choose. He'll see like the benefits of both. And then he'll live that. Alright, so that's it for today. Next week, same time.